Greetings everyone, welcome to Vsfabiano. And this is a game from Julius Baer Generational Cup, and this is a game played between world number 2 and world number 1. This is a game played between Fabi'Ano, Caruana and Magnus Carlsen, and definitely whenever they play it's one hell of a clash, but here it was far in developing. And I say that because even Magnus started laughing at Fabiano's opening choice, and let's just see what happens. So without further ado, let's start with this game. Bobby started with c4, nice opening, going for this English opening, and we have just g6 going for the snake variation, and we have e4 and just going for this knight to f6, and here e5 was played, but just knight to h5, and we have d4 trying to go for this weird setup, just going for that center, and we have d6 by Magnus trying to oppose that center, and we have just f4. Until now there's nothing wrong with this variation, but pushing all those pawns all the way, you have to be very careful, especially against a player like Magnus. And here bishop to h6 was played, but here the move that you had to find was just you had to go for this knight to c3, just trying to go on with the game. And after bishop captures on f4, just giving up a pawn, you have to give up a pawn to get some development in. And after bishop captures, you go for this knight captures, and after e captures, just queen captures, and after queen to d2 trying to castle queen side, you'll play this. Black will mostly go for the c6, and after knight to f3 you go for this knight to h5, and after castles you'll get this queen to f4 asking for a queen trade. You have to trade the queens because the queen is definitely very much strong in this variation. So after queen captures, knight captures, you go for this rook to d2, and only after black castles you can see that white is definitely ahead in development, and will have a decent game. But after this bishop to h6, Fabi chose to go for this g3, and it's only move 6, but pause the video and try to find the move that gives you a winning advantage while I give you a couple of seconds. So congratulations to everyone who's able to find this move, and the move is that Magnus played. Magnus goes for this d captures on e5, and after d captures is queen captures, and after king captures just this knight to c6. And you can see that Fabi is definitely going to have a lot of trouble dealing with all these pieces. Magnus is ahead in development, and Fabi has a worse position. And here bishop to d2 was played, but just bishop to f5, and after bishop to g2. And here again, even this bishop to g2 is not the best way to play this position. Instead, what Fabi had to go for was this knight to f3. And yes, you get this f6, opening up more position, just castling queenside, getting the rooks into the game. And here, all of that just doesn't give Magnus that much enough, and maybe Fabi would have a fighting chance because after bishop to c3, you'll go for this rook to f8, just going for this discovery after the trade happens. So after king to e1, black will mostly castle queenside, connect the rooks and get those rooks into the attack as well. And after bishop to e2, just f captures on e5, and after knight captures, and just bishop captures, and just knight to f6, and maybe, just maybe, white will have some fighting chances. But instead here bishop to g2 was played, and after queenside castle we have this king to e1, and after bishop to d4, this knight is just a monster and you're threatening that folks. So only move knight to a3, have this f6, just opening up more lines against the white king. And after knight to f3 was played, we have this bishop to e4, just nullifying this knight. You cannot even trade in this position. And after rook to f1 was played, we have this bishop captures, and this bishop captures, and not even bothered to go in an endgame after bishop captures, but just playing this captures. And after bishop captures on g5, we have this g captures, and we have this rook to d1. And after rook to f8, we have this bishop to c3, but just this rook to f5. And after rook to f2, we have h4, but just knight captures. And after rook captures on f5, we have king to f1, but just bishop to e3. And you can see that the rook does not have many squares in this position. So the only move with this rook to f7, but just h captures, and this rook to f5 check, Magnus is definitely having a winning position. So likely get as many pieces of the board as he possibly can. So after this rook captures on f5, we have knight captures, and rook captures on d8, king captures, and this king to e2. Maybe in this bishop and a knight, maybe you can try and create some sort of chances. But here Magnus played the best move he could in this position and went for further trades as he goes for this bishop to d4, just trading the bishop, and there's nothing better. You have to trade. So bishop captures on d4 was played, and we have knight captures on d4, but just king to e3, and knight to c6, but just knight to b5, but just king to d7. And Magnus played it to absolute perfection. Here knight to c3 was played, but just king to e6, just getting the king into the game, and just getting the king all the way to the king side and pushing the pass pawn and just winning the game. And there's pretty much nothing Fabi can do about it, but Fabi is definitely going to try. So here knight to b5 was played, but just king to f5, and knight captures on c7, but just king to g4. Here king to f2 was played, but just knight to b4. Just one more chance Fabi had in this position was just to go for this king to g2, not allowing the king to infiltrate. And yes, you do give up the a2 pawn, but you'll have compensation for that, because after knight captures on a2, you'll play this knight to d5, and after a5, you grab the e7 pawn, and here after knight to b4, you'll get this knight to c8. And after knight to d3, just going after the b2 pawn, you don't care about the b2 pawn. Yes, it creates a pass pawn, but you create a pass pawn of your own and go after the b7. After knight to b6, you go for this knight captures on b2, and after c5, you go for this a4, and after knight captures on b7, you go for this knight to c4, and after c6, no, white is not winning in this game because you'll get this maneuver to try and stop the pass pawn. but white has created a passed pawn of its own, so maybe having some counter-attack chances. But instead, here b3 was played, and it's just completely losing. And here knight captures on e2 was played by Magnus, and knight to d5, but just to e5. And knight to e3 check, we have king to h3 and knight to f1. And here knight to c1 was played, but just knight to d2. And here king to g4, but just king to g2. And here h5 was played, but just king to f2. And after e5, we have knight to g2 and just e4. And we have king to f2, but this very nice e3 check. And here, just even giving up pawn because Magnus' position is completely winning. After king captures on e3, we have king captures on g3, and here after knight to e4 check, we have king to g2, king to d2, and just this knight captures on b3 with the check. King to c3 was played, but just h4, and it was on this move, on move 46, that world number 2 Fabi'Ano Caruana resigned the game, and Magnus spectacularly won game 2 with near perfect play. So yeah, thank you all for watching. I'll be coming up with another video. Stay tuned for that, and see you guys very soon.